So many years of catastrophe, more than 6 million refugees. It could be you and your family, forced from your home and your history.
We are the people, and this is our time. Stand up, sing out for Palestine.
Hello, and welcome to Palestine Today. I'm your host, Kathleen Wells, and our program, Palestine Today, is dedicated to news about Palestine. My co-host is British journalist and campaign filmmaker Harry Fear, who is in Gaza City, and we have a fabulous show prepared for you again this week. In fact, every week, every show is fabulous, and I hope you're not missing it. So first, I'd like to say hello to my co-host, Harry Fear. Hi, Harry.
Hi, Kathleen. It's great to be back on the show. Actually, I'm not in Gaza City for this week, but our special guest is, and he's a friend of mine and a colleague of mine in Gaza, and I'm very, very, very happy to have him on. And for me, this is a very special show, and I'm very excited about the program today because I think that we'll be able to deal with some really important and really serious issues tackling the Israel-Palestine situation at the moment. So let's start this amazing show.
Okay, let's start this amazing show. But first, let me say that I'd like people to know that if you want to keep Palestine Today on the air, please make donations. You can go to my website, thekathleenwellshow.com, click on the PayPal donate button and make a contribution. We bring you the unfiltered truth about Palestine, where you would get nowhere else in the West except KCAA and also Jeff Blankford's program in Mendocino County, which is kzyx.org. That's the only two stations. Oh, and then Don Basanti's program on KPFK. So 3 stations in the West give you the unfiltered truth about Palestinian from the point of view of Palestinians who actually live there. And later on we're gonna have Mohammed from Palestine, from Gaza, on the program. But first, I want to say, don't forget to vote. Don't vote. Don't forget to donate. Don't forget to donate to the show so that we can bring you the truth. And also, I would like to say we're going to talk to Rita and Edward who are the directors of the Bristol Nakba Museum, and they're going to give us updates as to what's going on there right now. So, hi, Rita, and hi, Edward. We're listening to you from Bristol, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Kathleen.
Yeah, hi, Harry, and so nice to talk to you wonderful people.
Nice to speak with you.
We're into our 6th week now with it's the Palestine Embassy and Nakba Museum. We're now into our 6th week, so we're quite getting used to it, and it's been such a revelation, mainly because people have never seen this before. They've never understood that there was a Palestine, a beautiful functioning Palestine before any of the trouble started. So in a way, it's good that people are connecting with the past of Palestine, which is now obviously, conflicted with Israel. We want to really talk also about another project that Harry might know about, and perhaps, hopefully, Mohammed would know about, and it's called Gaza Ark. That's ARK. Now, this is a group of people that probably are familiar to you anyway. One, I think, is called Greta Berlin, and the other one is James Godswell, who are organising a boat to take goods from, the port of Gaza out to to us, and hopefully be able to trade straight from Gaza. So this is quite an exciting project, and tomorrow we're opening the Embassy and Nakba Museum specifically for a talk about that. So obviously at the moment we haven't had this event, but it's an event that I think really does pose a question: what happens when somebody tries to leave Gaza via its sea? I mean, that could be quite interesting. I can't imagine that Israel can object to anybody leaving Palestine, so or certainly Gaza. It's not as though they're bringing goods into Gaza that could cause Israel any problem. So it's an interesting project, and I think the world's waiting to see what happens there, and we're here to facilitate these group of people that are trying to bring on this amazing feat. That's our current thing, and this happens tomorrow from 12 o'clock till 4 o'clock, so hopefully one way or the other, maybe you can Skype in. we're open to Skype tomorrow between 12 and 4 at the Nakba Museum. Rita?
The update regarding the product. We have a product for sale, the zaytun, which are oils, almonds, za'atar, and other products. What else? Dried tomatoes,
dates,
soaps,
etc.
They come from the West Bank, and it's a cooperative which they sell product. We're not making any money out of it, but the Palestinians will benefit. And plus, I'm going to organize very soon school tours. So I'm going to contact the schools and ask them to come and have a visit around and see what they think and how they feel. Let them go through a checkpoint and prisons and the shortage of water. We had so much good feedback from people coming visiting and so many compliments. It's getting better every time. And soon we're going to have newsletters, which we're going to send out maybe monthly. And the website is on the way as well. So in 6 weeks, we've done quite a lot, big progress, I think. And it's really hard, but we're happy to do it. I'm very proud of what I'm doing.
Well, I want to say congratulations, and you're always welcome to give us updates here at Palestine Today. We really appreciate it. I am so proud of the energy and effort and the commitment that you've made to this project. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kathleen. And I wanted to add that you're doing a great job too. We won't forget that because you're working very hard as well.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. So thank you, Edward, and thank you, Rita, who have a relationship here with us at Palestine Today, the Bristol Nakba Museum. You guys don't have a website up yet, do you?
No, it's on the way.
It's on the way. Soon they will have their website up, the Bristol Nakba Museum, which is in Bristol, which is how many miles outside of London?
120.
120 miles outside of London. So
it's very close.
And I need to add this as well. Volunteers are coming to me. People coming to me and ask if they can help. So I got a big amount of volunteers at the moment, which is great. Also, people donating bikes. Just seeing the sign outside, say, please donate unwanted bikes, and they just come and bring bikes. So soon we're going to have lots of bikes to bring to Palestine.
And I might add also, we find now that a lot of the aid is could be money, could be other things, just general support, witnessing some of the things that are going on there. But what we found is that a lot of the volunteers are prepared to actually start tourism, trying to get tourism going, trying to get small industries that they can actually twin with in Gaza and the West Bank. So we're finding now by opening our doors that people are actually opening their doors and opening their hearts and really do want to make a difference for the people of Palestine. So, and the Palestinians are special people, and heaven forbid what's happened to them. It's dreadful. And these people that are coming into the Nakba Museum are realizing that, and they know they've got to do something. Silence is not an option anymore.
Silence is not an option anymore. Isn't that the truth? And I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate hearing that people are opening up their minds and their hearts, because isn't it about being open, isn't it? Open to the truth. And that's where you get the truth here at Palestine Today regarding the Palestinians, because you can't expect the truth anywhere else in the Western media, in the mainstream media about Palestinians. In fact, people don't even know that Palestinians existed before this whole catastrophe. They think they didn't even exist. And in fact, I think one of the politicians here in the United States, I think it was Newt Gingrich and someone else, said that, Palestinians didn't exist before.
I know.
Can you imagine? Isn't that shameful?
I can't. It's madness that we, 2,000 years of education of, major kind of like philosophers, and we get dumbed down to this extent. I think it's disgraceful.
We should go back to school.
And Kathy, you're doing a wonderful thing there, and it's Harry Fear and Mohammed that's coming on soon. I mean, we're in a way, we're all special people, and I think we want to support each other, and that's very important. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate Edward. That's Edward and Rita from the Bristol Nakba Museum. Bristol is about 120 miles outside of London. They have a partnership with us here at Palestine Today. They will periodically call in with updates, and so they just gave us their latest update. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Harry.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Harry. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so Harry, is Mohammed ready?
Mohammed is ready and waiting for us. And as I said it before, I'm very excited about having him on. Mohammed, can you hear us okay now?
Yes.
Salam alaikum. Nice to speak with you.
Alaikum assalam. Nice to speak to you too.
So at the moment we're broadcasting live on the internet and live in a region of West Coast USA. That's right, geographically speaking, Kathleen, correct?
Yes, you're very right.
In the rest of the show, I want to talk about the general understanding that you have, Mohammed, of the Israel-Palestine conflict. And I wondered first if you could introduce yourself in the way that you think is most appropriate to our listeners.
Okay, sure. First, thanks for this opportunity. I appreciate that so much. I'm Mohammed AbedAllah. I'm from Gaza. I am a Palestinian activist. I work in international relations, and also I work in some networks about Palestinian issues and to talk about Palestinian-Israeli conflict.
Great. That's great, Mohammed. Actually, I understand that your preferred focus for the rest of the show is not to talk about the peace talks and all of that. And I think that we can talk about some really interesting ideas that I know that you have to share with us. So I wondered, could you first, just to start off, just characterize how you see it, the so-called conflict, the so-called Israel-Palestine conflict?
Okay. First of all, I would like to make something very clear from my point of view that we are, as a Palestinian, we are under occupation of Israel, and that's the main issue of our all problems here in Gaza. Okay. So anything after this occupation happened, it's actually as a consequences of the occupation. So if we want to start about talking, about how Palestinians here they are targeted always in all of our history by Zionist and Israel's forces against us. And there's always a big issue about Zionists. They are trying always to make it like it's a religion fight, which actually not. We haven't any problem with the religions. Actually, we are Palestinians here before Israel's occupation came. We were all Jewish, Muslims, Christians. We were all brothers, and we used to have a lot of things in common. So this is the first thing that I would like to make it clear, because always I face that sadly that Israel lobby or Zionist lobby, they are trying to promote that this is not occupation as much as a religion fight, which not at all. Palestine is full of Jewish, full of Christians, full of Muslims. Of course, the most people here are Muslims because of the culture here, but it's not a fight between religion.
Do you think that the disunity between the different Palestinian factions, the political factions, do you think in a way that has been deliberately cultivated by Israel or its supporters, or do you think that's just a kind of natural Palestinian problem?
Well, it's actually a kind also of consequences of the occupation. If we want to talk about when these factions started in the first place, it started in the 80s and before that in the 60s to fight Israel and to shape any kind of resistance against this occupation. So what is happening right now, even in Palestinian conflicts itself, it's because of Israel occupation and its consequences against us. If we want to hope, we hope always that we have just one society with factions inside, but it's not something that we can achieve because everyone try to achieve his freedom way by making a group or making a faction or whatever we can name it. So yes,
I was going to say that having spent some time in the West Bank, nothing in comparison to the time I've spent in Gaza, but in the West Bank, I found quite often that Palestinians would say the only solution is if we can all live together side by side with the Israelis and just stop this ridiculous conflict, this kind of narrative. And that kind of side-by-side narrative is not something I really ever hear, actually, in Gaza. And I wondered what your comments were on that.
Well, it's actually, for me personally, I don't believe on living side by side with Israelis because it's not actually something can exist. We don't like wars, we don't like to be killed, we don't like to kill anyone actually also. But at the same time, we are occupied people here, and our right to fight back until we got our lands back. It's not about just the humanity side, it's also about justice side. We have to fight until we got the last piece of our land back. And that's maybe in West Bank they have a kind of trying to live in peace and trying to have any kind of decent life. And sadly, all of these conflicts making Palestinians going in a lot of miserable ways in their lives. So that's why they are trying. They are actually desperate for any kind of solution, giving them any kind of decent life. But
Indeed.
actually, if we want to go to the basic thing here, to the basics, which that we are occupied, so the problem will be solved if the occupation went out, and this is it. It's simple enough.
Indeed. I wanted to ask you, in your understanding, there's always this massive question about whether there is a one-state solution, 99-state solution, or should there be a separate Palestinian and Israeli state to resolve this? Could you talk about that?
Yes, sure. First of all, I respect any kind of efforts towards Palestinians, from pro-Palestinians, from Palestinians themselves, from anyone who care about our case. But at the same time, some solution like one-state solution, I have a major problem about that. First of all, it talked about one-state solution. It didn't mention at all that Palestine exists in this one-state solution. That means that it's not one Palestine solution. It's about one-state solution. That's like there is some people there fighting about something, and we want to solve this problem. And this is not the reality. The reality that we are fighting to get our lands back and to end this occupation. So this is one thing. It's more risky than any kind, for me, any kind of any solution else. The other thing is that it's like the equalization, like we are normalization between us and the Israelis, that we are the same and we have to accept each other, and that's it. But it's not also fair, because we know exactly that they are occupation, they have to leave. There is no way to say that, okay, let's live with them and let's make everything nice with them. This is not going to happen.
Yeah, Mohammed, that's something that a lot of people don't understand, particularly in the West, is that, they don't know that Israel is actually an occupying force. I don't think people actually comprehend that idea. Do you know what I mean? They don't.
Yes. And this is the major problem, that people do not recognize 1948 Nakba. And this is what everything started. And if they recognize that 1948 Nakba, that was how Palestinians were killed, and the land was occupied by some forces from Israelis, and Balfour promised they will get it, because the first thing that they have to get the people that Israel is occupying forest. It's not like that we are fighting about something ridiculous. No, they took our lands. We have to fight back, and we have to take our lands back.
But what do you say?
It's often it's portrayed as if it's a fight between two parties competing for the same piece of land. I guess in the sense of Jerusalem, maybe it is, but generally, it's of course not like that, right?
No, it's really not.
But what do you say to people, Mohammed, what do you say to people who say that the UN gave that land to Israel?
Well, this is really it's some such like rumors, sadly, because it's not the reality. If we want to look to our history, to all documents that prove, and all of our history as a Palestinian here lived from thousands and thousands of years here in Palestine. It's not just like a conflict happened from 100 years and that's it. No, if we want to take the history as a witness for us, okay, we can look for years ago and thousands of years ago, and we see who really was living here. It's never been about Jewish or Muslims or Christians or anyone. It's been about Palestinians. If you are Palestinian, you are welcome. If you are not, you are not. This is it. It's not like a conflict about two forces fighting about the same land and they own the same land. This is not reality. For example, I have no problem with anyone Jewish all over the world, but I have all the problems with any Israelis who live in my land. This is it. So the other thing that it's also make me wonder about this kind of normalization between us and Israelis, that okay, we can live in a happy and normal life, and this is really weird for me that some people promoting for this kind of solution that make everyone satisfied and make everyone go well, while we know exactly that Israel itself will never accept this kind of solution. So it's just, for me, it's just promoting ideas for the Palestinians' minds and for the people all over the world to forget Palestine itself, what it means. And this is for me is very weird. Just to forget Palestine, just to forget the name of Palestine, and at the same time, Israel didn't show any kind of any good behavior towards Palestinians. They always kill us. They always take wars and make wars against us, and they kill and they take lands. And then the other point, we have Jerusalem. They take lands every day in West Bank, settlements every day, and this is. So this kind of solution, this is really not going to happen, because there is no guarantee about anything in it. It's just promoting ideas which not fair for us Palestinians.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. We're going to take a break in a short while, but after the break, I want to talk more with you about how Israel might see a one-state solution and what maybe it's trying to do to avoid that, or trying to certainly just get rid of all Palestinians that remain so that all of the land can be Israel's.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
So many years of catastrophe, more than 6 million refugees. It could be you and your family, forced from your home and your history.
Playgrounds for Palestine is a non-for-profit 501c3 organization dedicated to upholding the Palestinian child's rights to play. This is a right enshrined in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. We operate through a volunteer board and staff, the generosity of our supporters, and a lot of heart. To date, Playgrounds for Palestine has constructed 15 playgrounds in Palestine, as well as refugee camps in Lebanon and Syria. To contribute to this most worldly cause, please go to our website at www.playgroundsforpalestine.org or send a check to Playgrounds for Palestine, P.O. Box 559, Yardley, Pennsylvania 19067 at www.playgroundsforpalestine.org.
Hi, this is Kathleen Wells, the host of Palestine Today. And Harry Fear and I, guess what? We need you, the public, who is listening to KCAA's Palestine Today, to donate. We must pay for our airtime. We are volunteer hosts. Please go to my website, thekathleenwellsshow.com, click on the donate button, and donate to Palestine Today. Your generosity will help to keep the show on the air. Without it, we cannot keep the show on the air. So, no matter how small or how large, please make a donation. We need you, the public who's listening to Palestine Today, to make a contribution, to make a donation, to tell us, yes, that you like this show and you want Palestine Today to continue. So don't forget, the KathleenWellShow.com. Make a donation. We're counting on you.
Are you fascinated by the Middle East, but worried that U.S. foreign policy may lead yet to another war? Do you care about civil rights? For the past 30 years, the Washington Report on Middle East Affairs has brought its readers the real news, minus the corporate media spin. Read about Palestinians trying to survive the world's largest occupation. Learn how your hard-earned tax dollars fund that illegal occupation. Find out how much your members of Congress has received from pro-Israel PACs, and much, much more. Visit the Washington Report's website, www.wrmea.org, or call 888-881-5861 to request a free sample copy. Better yet, subscribe. It's only $29 for 9 issues. Mention Palestine Today and get a bonus gift.
8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It doesn't matter. There's always something for you right here on KCAA Radio.
So many years of catastrophe, more than 6 million refugees. It could be you and your family, folks from your home and your history.
We are the people, and this is our time. Stand up, sing out for Palestine.
Welcome back to Palestine Today. And Harry Fear and I are speaking with Mohammed AbedAllah, who is in Gaza. And he was just giving us an update. He was informing us that Palestine is actually occupied by Israel. Hey, listen, there are a lot of people in the West, there are a lot of Americans that don't realize that fact. Don't you think, Harry?
Of course. That's why it's so important to constantly remind people with this show. Mohammed, I'd like to read you a quote from mid-July by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and it was a response to the peace talks. And this isn't about the peace talks, but about what he's trying to get out of them. So he says, with the resumption of the diplomatic process, that's the peace talks, we are faced with 2 main goals as Israel, or as himself. First, preventing the creation of a binational state between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River that would endanger the future of the Jewish state. And I cut the quotation there because, for me, I found that very shocking, that the Prime Minister of Israel is actually seriously worried, and he's even willing to admit it in public, about the idea of having a binational one-state solution. I mean, does that not suggest that there is actually hope that Israelis and Palestinians could live together under a binational one state?
Well, according to Israel ways to deal with Palestinians all over our history, there is no way for them to accept any kind of solution, whatever that solution. They have in their, let's say, agenda, they have the idea of taking the whole Palestine, and not even just Palestine. I'm not talking about the Jewish idea, I am talking about Israel's Zionist idea. Okay? They are willing really to take all of, Jordan, Palestine, Syria, some of Iraq also, and some of Egypt. So, if we want to talk about it logically, for them, any kind of solution, they will break it. And our history proves that very well. We spent a lot of negotiations with them, with actually, sadly, for example, in two-state solution, we have to accept that, okay, we have to deal with that stuff, and we have to give some lands back, we have to give them some lands without, of course, they are not worth it, but at the same time, they didn't show any kind of any acceptance for any kind of solution. And even one-state solution, while from my point of view, it's not fair at all for Palestinians, but at the same time, they will never accept it, because that means that they will accept existence from Palestinians, which they are really do not accept this existence before 1948 and before 1967, actually. So this is the point. They are trying to make this conflict, it's about like 100 years or maybe less, but it's actually, it's the case before that, and it's thousands of years before that. So they are trying to show that this conflict is just for now, and we are the occupation for them, and we are like some people living there against their will, and they are trying to normalize things with us while we don't want to. But actually, the otherwise also is happening, that they don't accept us, they will never accept us, they kill us. So that's the only justification for what is really going on the ground.
Indeed. Mohammed, a question comes in from someone on Facebook. Her name is Nagin Sultana. She asks, what does an average Palestinian want? A side-by-side solution or a one-state solution?
Okay. I'm going... thanks for this question. I think it's very important, actually. From my point of view, the basic thing about all of this conflict is about that Israel, they are occupation for Palestine. So if you want to talk about the final solution and the most justice solution, it will be like Israel occupation ended and Palestine will be free. I'm talking about historical map of Palestine. I'm not talking about 1967. I'm talking about before 1948 map. Okay, this is the main solution that we are fighting for, and we are willing to do it, inshallah. But at the same time, I'm not saying that we are going to get ourselves killed or not to know our limits of power or anything like this. So there is a lot of people try to make any kind of negotiation, which sadly, that it's worthless. It's not working at all. But that's what we have. We are trying to make like a compatible between resistance, between politics, between that we want our lands back, and at the same time we want the peace and we want to save our lives. But either ways, they are killing us. They are taking more lands. So for me, there is no sense in just standing and just waiting for them to take more of our lands while we cannot resist because we will be so-called terrorists or something like that.
Indeed. So in a way, the conclusion is it's better to make a compromise now than to lose everything. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we better to resist more, but we have to resist in much clever way than we used to. That's our point.
Okay, Mohammed, let me ask you, how do you feel about taking some phone calls? Some questions. How do you feel about taking some questions from listeners? Are you open to that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so why don't we open up the phone lines? We'll take a break, but I'm going to give out the phone number. So if there's anyone out there listening who would like to call in with questions or comments for Mohammed, please feel free to do so. The number is 888-909-1050. It's a toll-free number. That's 888-909-1050. And when we come back from the break, let's hope we have some phone calls, some questions, some comments for Mohammed. We'll be right back.
Sing out for Palestine.
Playgrounds for Palestine is a non-for-profit 501c3 organization dedicated to upholding the Palestinian child's rights to play. This is a right enshrined in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. We operate through a volunteer board and staff, the generosity of our supporters, and a lot of heart. To date, Playgrounds for Palestine has constructed 15 playgrounds in Palestine, as well as refugee camps in Lebanon and Syria. To contribute to this most worldly cause, please go to our website at www.playgroundsforpalestine.org or send a check to Playgrounds for Palestine, P.O. Box 559, Yardley, Pennsylvania 19067 at www.playgroundsforpalestine.org.
Hi, this is Kathleen Wells, the host of Palestine Today. And Harry Fear and I, guess what? We need you, the public, who is listening to KCAA's Palestine Today, to donate. We must pay for our airtime. We are volunteer hosts. Please go to my website, thekathleenwellsshow.com, click on the donate button, and donate to Palestine Today. Your generosity will help to keep the show on the air. Without it, we cannot keep the show on the air. So, no matter how small or how large, please make a donation. We need you, the public who's listening to Palestine Today, to make a contribution, to make a donation, to tell us, yes, that you like this show and you want Palestine Today to continue. So don't forget, thekathleenwellsshow.com. Make a donation. We're counting on you.
Are you fascinated by the Middle East, but worried that U.S. foreign policy may lead yet to another war? Do you care about civil rights? For the past 30 years, the Washington Report on Middle East Affairs has brought its readers the real news, minus the corporate media spin. Read about Palestinians trying to survive the world's largest occupation. Learn how your hard-earned tax dollars fund that illegal occupation. Find out how much your members of Congress has received from pro-Israel PACs, and much, much more. Visit the Washington Report's website, www.wrmea.org, or call 888-881-5861 to request a free sample copy. Better yet, subscribe. It's only $29 for 9 issues. Mention Palestine Today and get a bonus gift.
Join the conversation now. Call toll-free at 888-909-1050. That's 1-888-909-1050.
So many years of catastrophe, more than 6 million refugees. It could be you and your family, forced from your home and your histories.
We are the people, and this is our time. Stand up, sing out for Palestine.
Welcome back to Palestine Today, where our guest is Mohammed from Gaza. Hi, Mohammed. Well, I don't want to say hi, Mohammed. What I want to say is that we have a phone call from Betty from Virginia. So, hi, Betty.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you very much. I'm very much interested in his comment about what he thinks would be the solution. I'm also curious, though, if it's proper or appropriate right now to ask what the impact on the Egyptians closing the tunnels, the Egyptians' military removal of Morsi, and then, the Israeli attack with drones into Egypt, the Sinai. Is it all right to ask that?
Oh, yeah, you can ask anything you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if you heard that clearly, but the question was, how has the Egyptian policy towards the tunnels, the smuggling tunnels with Gaza, and how has the Israeli drone attack recently on the Sinai, how has that affected Gaza?
Yes. Actually, it's affecting Gaza Strip very, very badly, sadly. We know that Gaza under unjust siege from more than 7 years now. And the only solution that Palestinians invented, that these tunnels, okay, because Rafah border, which is the border between Gaza Strip and Egypt, is closed all the time. And also it's just for passengers. It's not for goods or any kind of anything. And Israel on the other side, they are controlling our life by all the meaning of it, economically, in anything wanted to be. They are forbidding a lot of things, such like very basic things, food, any kind of things. They just, if it's not fit with their economy, it's not fit with their industries, they will not let us to import it. So what is happening now?
If it doesn't fit with your industry?
It's affecting Gaza Strip very badly in economic side, and it's going really to be in a very disastrous situation in a matter of few days, not few weeks, because they always at this moment they are damaging more tunnels, and they are targeting more tunnels, And sadly, it's actually in the benefit of Israeli occupation against Gaza Strip and the siege against Gaza Strip.
Okay, so Betty, you asked for a clarification regarding.
Yes. Would he explain that Israel ties what they allow in with Israel's own industries? Could you give an example?
Sorry, I didn't understand that question very well.
Well, Betty, could you ask it again? I'm not sure I understood. You said you want an example as...
Yes, an example of those things which Israel will allow, but only because it fits in with Israel's own exports or Israel's own industry. Is that correct?
Oh, so your question is, what are the goods that Israel allows into Gaza? Is that the question?
Yes, but I thought he said it. They only allow those things which will result in a profit to Israel. Is that true?
Right. Mohammed, the question is, did you say, this is for clarification, did you say that Israel only allows into Gaza things that are beneficial and are profitable for Israel? Is this accurate?
Thank you.
Is that accurate, Mohammed?
Yes, it's very accurate, actually.
And
that's what's happening.
And so
yes,
Betty would like an example of those things that Israel allows into Gaza that are profitable. Give us an example of what those things are, if you know.
Okay, I will let you something. It's actually not one of the basics that Gaza needs. But for example, let's say some of chocolates, things that we really don't need it. Okay, and they are trying to combine it with wheat, which we need here very, very, very much. And if we have to import wheat, that means we have to import this kind, for example, of chocolates, or otherwise we will not be able to import wheat from them. So they know that wheat, of course, is very important to make bread, to make everything, including wheat, and it's a very basic thing here in Gaza, in food and everything that, including it. So that's what Israel really do. That even if they want to give us wheat, they will not give us the amount that Gaza needs. They will not give us even 20% that Gaza Strip needs. But at the same time, they try to combine it with another product which we do not need, but we have to import it because otherwise we will be like
without wheat.
We will have wheat, nothing.
Yeah, you'll be without wheat. Is that clear? Did you get that, Betty?
Yes, thank you. That's excellent. Yeah.
That's an excellent example. Okay, thank you, Betty, for calling in. So in other words, what you're saying, Mohammed, is in order to get wheat, you must also import chocolate.
Yes, that's right. Not just chocolate. I just give a chocolate as an example, but we have to import
other things.
Yeah.
Okay.
An extraordinary policy. Another question has come in from Amzarul, is his name. He asks you, Mohammed, what is your view regarding the Prora plan?
Sorry?
Excuse me, the new plan to ethnically cleanse those in the southern part of Israel, the new Prora plan.
Oh, yeah. This is actually also one kind of Israeli occupation what they are tending to do against Palestinians themselves. They are trying always to divide Palestine for several things. They are trying, as they are trying also always to take more lands, and even the lands which Palestinians have, they are trying to separate it from each other, such like Gaza Strip, such like West Bank, such like in West Bank itself. They are trying to separate it, and they are making like a plans against Palestinians always in order to make it separated, to make it easy to control, and to control it in all in everything in our lives. It's not just about trying to occupy as much as about also trying to kill any kind of spirit that Palestinians they can have. in economic way, in political way, in any kind of way. They are trying to put that this is the fact and you have to deal with it. And this is really a kind of a very simple kind of a big conspiracy against Palestinians.
Could you just talk a little bit about the spirit in Gaza? I mean, you just mentioned the kind of the effort to try and break Palestinian spirit, but could you just characterize what the spirit of Palestinians in Gaza is, for example?
Okay, I will be very logical at this point. I would say something very important, that Israel always, they are not trying to make us die from, for example, hunger, or die from lack of water or anything like that. But at the same point, they will never let us try to develop ourselves. So you have to think always about this day, actually about this moment, and how you can live in it without thinking about the future, and without thinking about your country, and without thinking about anything, including any kind of giving you a good spirit to move on. When they make the siege around Gaza Strip, which I am into it, because that's why I'm talking about Gaza, because I'm witnessing it. They are they are doing it. If you want to see Gaza now, there is no jobs, no good education, no good food, no electricity. Water should be finished by 3 years from now, and really nothing. Let me give you example to think for just one day that might coming for you. And at the same time, you never know, and you can never guess when is the next offensive will be. It will be any moment, any time, without any kind of any warning. So you will think just about yourself right now, and they are trying to give you, like, be thankful for what you are now, not to think about the future, not to think about the vision, not to think about what you can do towards your country, and to develop it, and to develop yourself, which is very much important to do, more than to develop anything else. Because if everyone develop himself or herself as much as they should, we will have a very good society. But right now, you are see the consequences of this occupation, not just like a direct consequences, like a killing, something like that. Of course, we have that a lot, sadly. But at the same point, they are trying to kill any kind of spiritual thing that might make you keep moving on and going on. And this is the type of, if you want to see the Gaza Strip people, you have a lot of people who were graduated from a lot of universities with very high degrees and with very high education and very good minds, actually, but at the same time, they don't have any kind of decent life. They don't have a job. Just for now, for example, I am thinking maybe the electricity will work off in a moment. So I'm trying to...
Because it normally goes off at around 10 to 10. Is that right?
Oh, that was in the past. It was good, actually. Now, it's much more worse now. Sometimes it just come 4 hours, and sometimes just 8 hours during the 24 hours per day. So you can imagine how is that making your life even miserable each side. So also, if we wanted to speak about how that affect also the crimes here in Gaza, it's be more because of all the feelings people kept here. They are trying to look for each other instead of looking forward for something much better and to move on. So in every side, really, in every side here in Gaza, you will see that anything can be attached to occupation. And anything will be like a consequences of occupation. Even our policy, even our food, even our drink, even our air which we are breathing.
Yeah, all political activity is attached to the occupation. Mohammed, I want to ask you a question. Last week, we had Jeffrey Blankford on the show, and he gave us some information about Arafat. So I want to get your perspective as to Arafat. What is your feeling as a Palestinian about Arafat? That might be a controversial question. I don't know, but give me your honest thoughts about him.
Okay, I will give you my honest thought about Arafat and what he did.
Yeah.
Actually, my point of view, and just my point of view, I'm not saying that I'm talking about the Palestinians, but I'm just talking about the witness here from Gaza, and I saw a lot of things happen during our life here. It's what Arafat did. Arafat did that because he had to do it. Okay, it's not the perfect solution and the perfect compromise that he did. Actually, it's make us lost a lot of lands and lost a lot of rights. But at the same time, if we want to think logically about it, while Arafat he was out there and Palestinians here, they have no authority at all. Palestinians out there, refugees, they have no emphasis at all. No one recognized them. No one recognized Palestinians here. No one all over the world recognized us. And we still be killed every day, each day. So the best solution at that moment to have any kind of authority to save your people's lives. Otherwise, we will be unshaped at all. And we will be just like some people living there, and maybe we will all be, at that moment, we will be all out of Palestine. And even though we will, as Palestinians out of Palestine all over the world, will not be recognized even though. So it's very painful. It's a very painful decision he made. But I think that era, at that time, maybe it was 50% solution, but right now we haven't to accept it. That solution was for that time, not for this time.
Is this the Oslo Accords?
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm referring to, the Oslo Accords.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. At that time, that made sense at that time. But now, as much as we have authority, sadly, two governments, and inshallah, may Allah make them go to make a rejoin again. And we have governments, we have a shape, we have embassies, we have a little bit like a structure. This is good. So we have to think about Palestine and the whole Palestine, not just to think about 1967 or to think about Oslo agreements, because if it's not in the benefit of Palestinians, that's it. That decision was made under like a whole of circumstances among that, and now we have to think in a very clever way to think about what is the best solution now, not about the best solution happened before.
Well, Mohammed, we've only got a couple of minutes left, but just to tie it up, you mentioned earlier and now just again about what the best new intelligent strategy or solution would be. In the next 1 minute, could you talk a little bit about how things might be improved moving forward?
Okay, first of all, our history proves that there is sadly no any solution with Israelis that they will accept it, whatever that solution. So we have to stick to our rules, and we have to stick to our roots, which Palestine, which the historical map of Palestine, not just what the people trying to promote for us. And the other thing, I think the best solution right now to work efficiently in a much clever way, and having solidarity from all people all over the world, and try also to influence the governments all over the world, while at the same time to build a good society in Palestine itself, with the whole Palestinians. I'm not just talking about Palestinians in Gaza and West Bank or in 1948 occupied lands. No, I am saying about whole Palestinians all over the world, with Palestinians here to have a very good plan for the future and what we want to do exactly. And at the same time, we want really very good help from all supporters for Palestine and all believers that we are occupied people, we are not terrorists, and we are trying to defend towards our lands and to get the last, let's say, meter of our lands. This is my point about it.
Okay, we only have 30 seconds left. I want to thank you, Mohammed AbedAllah, for joining us from Gaza. Harry Fear is in Egypt, and we just had Edward and Rita in Bristol. I mean, you can't get more international than that, can you? I mean, that's the fabulous thing about Palestine Today, is that it's an international show with guests all over the world, and we want to continue. We've got 10 seconds, so thank you for listening, and come next week. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Edward. And we'll be back next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 a.m., the station that leaves no listener behind.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Chris Earl Phillips. For this afternoon, sunny and a high of 90. Tonight, clear, low around 62. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 91. Tomorrow night, clear, low around 63. Heading into the work week we started on Monday with sunny skies and a high near 92. Monday night, clear, low around 63. On Tuesday, sunny and a high of 92. Tuesday night, clear, low around 65. On Wednesday, sunny and a high of 93. Wednesday night, mostly clear, low around 66. That's your weather forecast for this hour from the station that leaves no listener behind. NBC News Radio, AM 1050 KCAA.
It's the 14th annual Loma Linda Ronald McDonald House Car Show, Sunday, August 11th from 9 to 2 p.m. Check out the customs, the classics, the hot rods, and the Corvettes. That's this Sunday from 9 to 2 p.m. at the Loma Linda Ronald McDonald House, located at 11365 Anderson Street in Loma Linda. All money raised goes directly to the Ronald McDonald House. So come check out the show. That's this Sunday, 9 to 2 p.m. at the Loma Linda Ronald McDonald House. For more info or to get your car entered, call Eric at 909-425-5161. That's 909-425-5161. See you Sunday for the 14th annual Loma Linda Ronald McDonald House Car Show.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country.
It's important to know the surface area of your pond. The information helps you calculate what the fish stocking rate should be and also how to apply the right amount of treatments, such as herbicides for weed control. One way to determine the surface area is to walk around the shoreline with a tape measure and basic geometry knowledge. Measure out shapes such as squares and circles to figure